Alright, what's up guys? This is Callum, back to do a One Piece theory. And today the theory is going to be on Blackbeard, or Marshall D. Teach, and kind of how he could eat two devil fruits, all the kind of strange occurrences which happen throughout One Piece, and everyone kind of tries to come up with theories to talk about one or a few of them, but I like to come up with a theory that actually kind of talks about all of them and kind of unites them. I don't really have any way to test this theory. I've just got a bunch of evidence from the manga which I use to come up with a theory which explains all of the evidence. However, there's no way to verify our theory. The only way to verify it would be for it to come up in the actual canon of the story, which it hasn't yet. But of course, we can actually hypothesize and we can theorize about what could happen. So, before I start, I'd like to recognize someone called Lucky Root 20, who came up with a theory that isn't exactly the same, but it's fairly similar. So definitely kudos to him. It's a really good theory. I love reading it. I came across it while I was trying to find some evidence for this theory, kind of looking for the actual panels, which I'm going to put up throughout the video, which justify what I'm saying. So, to begin, my theory kind of unites all of the different things. So we've got, of course, the fact that Blackbeard actually gave Shanks his scar. He cut Shanks in the face, he gave him the scar. We'll talk about that later. My dog's trying to get in, but I'm not going to let my dog in. We've also got the fact that Blackbeard, kind of before he ate the Yummy Yummy no Mi, he seemed to be very headstrong, very outgoing. He really wanted to attack people. So of course, you've got the moment where he attacks Shanks. That's a pretty big moment. Why would he attack Shanks when he's just part of Whitebeard's crew? He's not a captain, he's not a Yonko. He's just, I think he was even under a commander. He wasn't even a commander, and yet he attacked Shanks, who may not have been a Yonko at the time, but was definitely very powerful, and we know that. We also have the fact that unlike all the other Ds, you've got Porcus D Ace, you've got Porcus D Rouge, you've got Goldie Roger, you've got Monkey D Luffy, you've got Jaguar D Saul. All of these people, when they were about to die, they all smiled, and yet when Blackbeard or Marshall D Teach was about to die, he was afraid, he was scared, he wasn't smiling, which is really different, and it kind of points to something which I'm going to get to later, but if we keep going, we've also got the fact, this is the big controversial one, this is why a lot of people have made theories about Blackbeard. We've got the fact that he could actually eat two devil fruits. People say, oh, maybe he ate three, maybe he's got loads of devil fruits, we don't know. But we know that he definitely ate two because he had Whitebeards and he had the Yummy Yummy no Mi. So he definitely had two devil fruits. I've also got a couple other pieces of evidence. So the other kind of point of evidence people use is the fact that when Nami says, who was that? Who was that? When referring to Blackbeard, she says, maybe he knows where Skypiea is, or maybe he knows how we can get to Skypiea. And they say, no, it's not he, it's they. And so some people say, oh no, she's talking about him and his crew, and maybe that's why they're saying they. But other people say, no, they're saying they because he's got more than one body, or he's got three heads in the Cerberus theory. Alright guys, I'm sorry, I actually, I didn't really like the way I filmed one little piece of evidence, so I'm gonna just pop it in here. There's this really important, I'm so sorry about these Facebook notifications, it keeps happening, but I'll just continue. There's this one bit in just the island before Skypiea, the one with Bellamy and Blackbeard and stuff like that, that actually, I've got the volume right here. Nami says, maybe that guy knows how to get to Skypiea. And then Luffy goes, well, it's not just one guy. He actually says, well, it's not just one guy. And she goes, huh? Not just one guy? Then what? Zoro goes, there's more than one, I think. Now, a lot of people say, I'll just show you the page really quickly. The text might be inverted. I don't know if I can fix that. I'll try. But there's the page. Sorry about that. Yeah. Now, a lot of people think that what they're saying is that because they had previously met people like Doc Q, I think I always get Doc H and Doc Q or something like that mixed up because one's from Chopper and one's from Blackbeard's crew. You've also got Jesus Burgess, those kind of people. They did meet those people, but I don't think that's what they're talking about. You see, when she says, hey, maybe that guy knows how to get to Skypiea, she says, maybe that guy knows. Why would they say, well, it's not just one guy? That is, to me, that doesn't really make sense. If they say, well, so if I say, hey, maybe Dan knows how to get to McDonald's, would my friends go, no, Dan's got a lot of friends. It's not just Dan. I'd be like, what? I was talking about Dan. Maybe Dan knows how to get to McDonald's. To me, that doesn't make sense. To me, it's more like they're saying Blackbeard is not just one person. Now, I'm going to kind of cut this clip and then go back to the evidence and talk about how this fits in with the theory. So this is the evidence part. I'm going to talk about how this fits with the theory. Marco also says that Blackbeard has a really strange body, and that's why he's able to eat 2 devil fruits or kind of overcome the fact that 2 devil fruits should kill you. And finally, the fact that the Yummy Yummy no Mi is the most powerful devil fruit. Blackbeard says, people say my devil fruit is the strongest of all devil fruit abilities. So although that doesn't seem like much, although they seem like really jumbled random facts, I'm going to get to them and I'm going to kind of explain them and why they fit in. So my theory to link all of these together is the fact that Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard, has 2 personalities, or more than one people inside him. So you could have more than 2, you could have 3, you could have 4, I don't know, but I'm sure he has 2, and this is why. See, in the beginning, when Teach was able to attack Shanks, he wasn't afraid of Shanks, he attacked Shanks, he exemplified the will of D. You know, you see Shanks randomly attacking people, you see Luffy just completely being headstrong, doing what he wants, he's not afraid of the consequences, he wasn't afraid of going to Impel Down, he was like, no, I have to do it, I'm going to get my brother, I know it's a scary place, I know I could be jailed, I know all these things could happen to me, but no, I'm going to get my brother, I don't really care about that. That's exactly the same way Blackbeard acted. We see that Shanks wasn't like, Shanks, he said, not even Hawkeye Mihawk, not even all these other people, no Yonko, nothing like that, was able to do this to me, it was Teach. So Teach not only had the guts to go against somebody who had already fought Hawkeye Mihawk, who had already beat Hawkeye Mihawk, which is pretty impressive. Like, he wasn't afraid of that. He also had the ability to damage him. Now, that kind of stands by itself. That pretty much exemplifies the will of D. You see, he's doing that, he's got the will of D, and yet, all the times we see him after he's eaten the Yummy Yummy no Mi, he doesn't always have the will of D. I think he does at some cases. So in the island before Skypiea, when Nami says, why didn't you guys fight? He says, no, they won that fight. And then he starts talking about how the Age of Pirates will never end. People's dreams will never end. Alright guys, I'm just going to cut in here really quickly. Just because of the fact that I didn't really want to go and find the panel where he says this because I've got it right here. I thought I'd just add it in. Just with these discussions and these reviews, I really want to make sure that I can always put the actual panels in so that you guys know that I'm not making things up, I'm not editing, I'm not kind of changing the words slightly so that they make sense for my theory. I really want them to be as accurate and as reasonable as possible so that you guys know that I'm not making anything up. You guys can follow my logic, you guys can understand my logic, and you guys can be sure that my logic is not faulty, or it's not drawing upon loose links or not drawing upon false links. So let me just show you this page. So I found out that it automatically flips the thing, which is great because I didn't have to do anything. So here's the bit where he's talking about the cherry pie and he's having an argument with Luffy. And then, so I think, yeah, okay, so it's Bellamy was just talking about the new age and he's saying, oh, there's a new age, the age of pirates is over. And then Blackbeard here is saying, he's kind of making fun of that. He says, the age of pirate dreams is over. Huh? Hey? He's making fun of that. And then you turn the page, and then he says, people's dreams don't ever end. Shouting it right at Luffy, who just turns and looks at him.
not smiling, not agreeing. He's just turning and looking at him, which again, I'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, just wanted to justify this bit. Thanks, guys.
And I think that's really important because the idea of dreams, the idea of having a dream, the idea of people's wills is very much linked to the will of D. So yeah, I do think in that moment he did have the will of D. But going on from there, we've also got moments like when he was about to die, when Whitebeard was punching him in the face, he says, no, you wouldn't kill me. You wouldn't kill me because I'm your son. Don't kill me. He's afraid. He says, no, please don't do this. When you've got all the other Ds, Luffy smiled, Porcus D. Rouge smiled, Porcus D. Ace smiled, Goldie Roger smiled, Jaguar D. Soul smiled. All of them smiled before they were about to die, or they thought they were about to die. So even though Luffy didn't die, he thought he was about to die. It's exactly the same with Blackbeard. He thought he was about to die, but he didn't smile. So I think that pretty much says this guy doesn't have the will of D. It's pretty inconsistent because at times he does, at times he doesn't. Later on, you've got the fact that when Shanks appears, and when Shanks says, whoever wants to fight me, come at me, come fight me, I'm willing to fight anyone, Blackbeard's afraid. Blackbeard says, no, I don't want to fight you. He's more cold, he's more calculating, and he's less headstrong. He's less willing to just do anything. He's less willing to take any challenge. When before he fought Shanks, when Shanks was probably almost as powerful, he even had 2 arms back then, he wasn't afraid to fight him. Sorry, my screen's going dark. And yet now, when Blackbeard has 2 devil fruits, 2 of the most powerful devil fruits, he is afraid to fight him. Why is that? I reckon it's because he's actually got 2 personalities. I reckon his initial personality was the personality of Marshall D. Teach, but when he ate the Yummy Yummy no Mi, which he says is the most powerful of all devil fruits, he also got another personality, a darker, perhaps more evil personality. When before he wanted the Yummy Yummy no Mi because it was the most powerful, he wanted it to become Pirate King. I reckon that's a pretty Will of D kind of goal because he's going like, yeah, I'm willing to do anything, even kill people, which we haven't really seen other people with the Will of D do. But now, afterwards, he's actually ruthless, he's malicious, he's capturing Ace, he's got a huge massive plan to capture Ace, to kill Ace, to get rid of the Goldie Roger bloodline, all that kind of stuff. He's much more calculating, he's doing all these things which aren't necessarily beneficial for him, but are just to cause mayhem. So he killed Whitebeard, he wanted to get his fruit, but then after he got his fruit, he started destroying things. He wasn't willing to fight Shanks, even though when before he was more than willing to fight Shanks. He even went against Shanks when he was much more powerful than him, and he managed to damage him. Now he's like, no, I don't want to fight you, it's not good for me right now. I think those are 2 really different personalities that he shows, and therefore there actually could be more than one personality in his body. I think that's also backed up by the fact that Marco says, yeah, this guy, he's got a really different body. His body's not normal. It's a different body, and I think that's because he's got one body, but more than one personality. And I think often they surface at different times. I think they both have similar goals, but are very different in the way they approach those goals. And perhaps there's conflict there, perhaps there's not. I'm not entirely sure. But I think that's why he's able to eat more than one devil fruit. Because if you have one personality, you can eat one devil fruit. And it says the reason you can't have more than one devil fruit is because they will fight and tear you up inside. But if you're 2 different people, they're not going to do that because each person has one devil fruit. There's no fighting, there's no tearing up. So I think that's why he's able to eat more than one devil fruit. There is the possibility that could be able to eat 3 or 4. He could have many personalities. I don't know, but I think for sure he's got 2. And maybe in the future we'll see more. I'm not entirely sure. I could only really identify 2. So now I'd like to get onto a more speculation-based part of this theory, which is where the other personality came from. I think it came from the Yummy Yummy no Mi. I think that's why it's so dark, that's why it's so evil, that's why it's so calculating. It makes sense to me because it's the most powerful of all devil fruits. I don't know why they're called devil fruits. They're supposed to be sort of spirits inside you, devil energies, or even devils inside you, and devil abilities. They come from the devil that's inside you. That's pretty interesting. I think maybe if you had a really powerful one, it would have its own personality. It wouldn't just be part of you, but because it's a devil, then it would actually have its own sentience, and perhaps the most powerful, perhaps the Yummy Yummy no Mi, which is incredibly powerful, would actually be able to overtake you, and actually be able to express its own personality. I'm not entirely sure about that. That's my theory. But there's also another theory which LuckyRoo20 noticed, which is when Oda was asked to draw people as a child, and when he gave a few little illustrations of many characters in One Piece as a child, his illustration of Blackbeard was him sitting down crying. I think that's pretty important because, as Lucky Roo mentioned, it could mean that he's had this other personality, this other thing inside him, this evil thing inside him which torments him forever, for his whole life. And I think that's a pretty significant thing. I think that's definitely possible. That could definitely be why he's a lot more evil than the other people with the Will of D, and pretty much a lot more evil than any pirate we've seen so far. I think that's a pretty good theory. I'd also like to mention the fact that when Blackbeard met Shanks again, after having eaten the Yummy Yummy Nomi, I don't think, there's no mention time that he met them between those two fights that he had. But the next time Shanks met Blackbeard at Marineford, Shanks said, "Marshal D. Teach, no, Blackbeard." There is the possibility that when before he fought Marshal D. Teach, who gave him that injury, now he's talking to the other personality, which he calls Blackbeard. I think that's a because otherwise he wouldn't say, "Marshal D. Teach, actually no, let's call you Blackbeard," or something like that. He says, "No, Blackbeard, I'm talking to Blackbeard." I think that's pretty important. I don't think there's anything else I'd like to mention, but if you guys like this theory and you would like to see more of these theories, please leave a like, comment, maybe share this if you can or if you want to, and maybe just give some feedback on what I can do better, because I'd really like to get into this. I'd really like to maybe just have a hobby, just making cool One Piece theories, because I really do enjoy it. I might even get into reviewing things, because I really do enjoy anime and manga, and I think it'd be really cool if I was able to do that. Thanks guys, peace out.